Hello everyone, this is Dr. Ceren Boğaç from Eastern Mediterranean University, Department of Architecture. I'm an architect interested in the way in which people's way of lives are translated into spatial dimensions or architectural language. My specific area of expertise is environmental psychology, and today I want to talk about emotions within architecture. But this is not about how our emotions affect our architectural practice. I want to speak about human emotions which occurs in a place. Being more specific, I want to develop a short account on love and place. I guess it is important at first to stress why I use the term place rather than the term space, which you hear more often in architecture. The two terms have a very particular difference. Space is something abstract, without any substantial meaning. It is the creation when forming geometrical 3D structures with a mass and with other elements of architecture. We use the term space more often in our architectural education when we are missing the human aspect, as well as when we are missing all the fiction regarding to the future life which will happen in our design environment, which hopefully will provide a better, healthier and happy living. Place, on the other hand, is the setting for life's actions. The concept has been a central subject for everyday life since the time of the Greek philosophers. Since the first centuries, discussions regarding to the ideal community and what kind of places such communities shall live in have always been on the agenda. That's why architecture has considered as a transformation of social, ideological, scientific, philosophical, or religious values into concrete physical forms by creating new living places. Well, people's emotional engagement with a place is a rare subject in architecture that you do not hear every day. This is mainly because of the modern architecture. Architecture education, as well as the practice, had long been under the domination of modern architecture movement, which emerged after the Industrial Revolution has considered architecture as a means of transforming society only with building forms that are very simple and geometrically pure or cubic, and with new construction materials and techniques by rejecting the symbolic values of the past. Most polemical issues about modernism occur around the concepts of form and function. In fact, the American architect Louis Sullivan's dictum of form follows the function became the basic principle of the movement. With this statement, Sullivan seems to have highlighted the superior role of functional requirements of a building on the conception of its overall form. In other words, buildings supposed to look like what it does. This movement tried to limit social activities into standard geometries within the illusion that social problems could be solved within the functionality that the form follows. For sure, that was the biggest break point in the history of architecture. This architectural approach, which rejects historical, local, and cultural elements, as well as the emotions of the people, has been criticized since the 1960s, and it is emphasized that architecture should be interpreted as a means of communication, not transformation, which is developed through people's narratives within the place. Architecture can be transformed into something meaningful when emotions within a place leads to experiences, and these experiences turn into memories that people develop through social and psychological means. When we look at the 21st century architecture, which has been transformed by learning the mistakes of the modern architecture, what comes forward is creating a new order with new life repertoires that may take permanent place in human memory through different stories, which is meaning making. Emotional engagements form the basis of the meaning making process between self and place. Emotions contain a complex pattern of reactions towards a place that involves feelings, but more so act as a mental state of an experience. Conceptually, the emotional connection between self and place is generally called bonding, and it centers around understanding the emotional intensity and psychological process of meaning making towards a place. The essence of this bond is feeling of love for a place. In other words, falling in love with place itself. But what generates this love? How do we fall in love with places? Talking about the phenomenon of love is a difficult theme for each subject, not only for architecture. But I want to raise up the question of what initiates love for someone or something at first place. Is it the physical appearance? The beauty? Well, to some extent, maybe. But for sure, beauty cannot be the only thing for us that matters. It is exactly the same when it comes to the buildings. The urge to create something iconic, unique, slaved many architects being image producers rather than being meaning makers for a while. Here I should note that I'm not referring to the symbolic aesthetic theory. I'm referring to the formal aesthetic that has been formulated mainly by the students of Gestalt psychology, which tends to explain visual perception only on the basis of geometric characteristics of the environment, such as shape, proportions, rhythm, scale, degree of complexity, color, illumination, shadow, etc. Therefore, as I mentioned right before, merely physical beauty is not something which makes us fall in love with something and sustain this love. The affection of love requires a very strong attachment, which is the main keyword here. There is an unbreakable flow between us and our places. We act on our environment, so does the environment on us. This flow generates emotions that are evoked in a place, and our cognition that is associated with any place is shaped by these emotions. This emotional interaction with a place is also referred as place attachment. How does this work? We constantly gather information about our surrounding with our 5 senses. Well, we are not lucky as sharks for having 8 unique senses, but our 5 senses are doing pretty okay about receiving information regarding our environment after a physical or chemical stimulation. We filter this information in our brain and set it into categories to store it in our mind and recall when we need it. This is called cognition. Now, let's try to recall a place that we love. Close your eyes and think about a place that is important to you. A place which you feel connected. This could be your home, a city park, your school, a favorite spot where you like to hide and think. This is your cognitive emotional bond with a place. This is the place that you love, and this love does not have much to do with the beauty or physical attributes of it. This place matters to you because of the way it makes you feel, because of the memories you share in this place. There are memories constituting the milestones of our life story, composed of memorable times. There are also memories of events happening inside a place which are shared by many, constituting a collective memory of our community. Places tells a narrative to us, and we keep them alive with our narratives. There's a fiction because of the way any place communicates to us. Places keeps the past and future together. If the place would only respond to the functional requirements and its physical appearance, which is supposed to follow the function, only be dependent on the taste of the architect, this could cause alienation from the place, even it is your home. And in order to attach emotionally and spiritually to this place, you would probably make many changes to this place to be able to integrate it with your life. Or you simply leave the place since you could not get happy there. I hope I could briefly cover why it is important to understand emotions of people towards their environment, and particularly the phenomenon of love of place in architecture to be able to design better living environments. Thanks for listening.